We have made the human being from a combined mixture of fluids and to test him, and we have made him hearing and seeing. So wait a minute, it's saying it's mixed, and wait a minute, the Prophet said it's a part of that mixed fluid, not all of it, which is, we know, it's one cell of the man and one cell of the woman. There's nothing like that in the Bible at all, my friend. You have no chance. There's nothing like that in Aristotle's work at all, my friend. There is nothing like that in Galen's work at all, my friend. And there's nothing like that in the Talmud at all, my friend.
In terms of the argument, Muslims make the argument that the Quran accurately describes embryology. That's what they say. Now, I've qualified that, so when I say Muslims, I'm speaking about certain kinds of Muslims, like Adnan Rashid, like Zakir Naik, like Shabia Ali. Not every Muslim, I fully appreciate that. So, it is fair, therefore, for me to test that argument.
Of course.
Right, so when I look at the description in the Quran, and I'm going to read it to you, I'm going to ask you to just qualify for me what you think the stages are that are being described. So if we go to Surah 23:12.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So 12 to 14, if you want to recite that while I'm getting out the English.
No, it's fine. You can just go ahead.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but just before I do recite it, if you want me to, there are two it's not just 23 which talks about.
I know.
There's
Yeah.
22 as well.
Yeah. I've got that.
Hajj.
I've got that.
Yeah. So what? Do you want me to go through all the stages?
No. I'm going to read it, and when you hear a stage, I want you to stop me, interrupt me, and say this is a stage. Is that fair? So that everyone can hear the case being made out, right? So, and indeed we created man out of an extract of clay. Thereafter we made him as a nutfa, thank you, in a safe lodging. Then we made the nutfa into a cloth. Then we made into a clot. Then we made the clot into a little lump of flesh. Then we made out of that little lump of flesh bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we brought it forth as another creation. So how many stages did you hear there?
In this part, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ. So, number one, tin.
What, sorry?
So the clay or mud.
So clay, yep.
Alright. And then you have ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ. We made them into a nutfa in a safe lodging, so nutfa.
Nutfa is the same lodging, is the safe lodging a separate?
خَلَقْنَا النُّطْفَةَ عَلَقَةً.
Is that?
خَلَقْنَا الْعَلَقَةَ مُضْغَةً.
Yeah.
فخلقنا مضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين.
So you hear 3 stages.
No. So 7. No. You got. So let's go with nutfa.
Yeah.
We're talking about embryology in particular.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have nutfa.
Yeah. Which is?
Then you have mudgha.
Which is?
Mudgha is a lump.
Yep.
And by the way, on this.
No. We're just going through the stages, Mohammed.
I have to. No, I'm doing it, but you have to let me say what it is. Yeah. In chapter 22, it says about mudgha.
Yep.
مخلقة وغير مخلقة. So it's partly formed and partly unformed.
Yeah.
And then so after mudgha you have alaqa, which is the clot, and then after alaqa you have aidan, which is bones.
Yeah.
And then you have after that flesh.
Okay.
So
right.
5.
Now again, just like the Muslim brother before him, without any prompting from me, no prompting from me at all, Muhammad said you have bones, then flesh.
Yeah.
So that's 2 Muslims independently, and Hijab's an experienced debater who said bones and then flesh. Now guys, it is a simple fact of embryology, and you can all go and Google it right now. Bones do not. Now notice the interruptions.
Guys, let him make his claim, please.
There we go. Bye, Mansour. Bye, Mansour. Mansour, do you not think the hijab's big enough to stick up for himself, mate?
Yeah, we love hijab.
I don't think hijab needs your help. But if you want to come into the debate, stand there. Just stand here.
Can you continue? Why are you waffling? I'm going to correct him every now and then. Carry on.
Right. So, guys, I challenge you now to go away and research it yourself. No embryologist argues that bones become flesh. Not anyone that is respectable. Except Mansour. So, sadly, this is why I have to raise my voice. I didn't want to, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to raise my voice because of Mansour. It's a shame because me and Hijab were having a nice conversation until Mansour turned up. So I'm not, all you're doing is delaying the argument. I'm still going to say my point, Mansour. I'm waiting for him to show up. I'm waiting for him to show up. I haven't finished my point. I haven't made my point.
All right, guys, be quiet, please.
Right.
Let him finish his point.
Okay, JC. Yeah, JC,
Nothing
leave
to hide
it.
here. Let him finish his point. He said there's no references. We're going to explore that.
So the fact of the matter is, without any prompting from me, Hijab has said bones then flesh. And it is a fact, ladies and gentlemen, a fact that you can check for yourselves, that bones and flesh grow together. JC, focus. Okay, they grow together, they grow at the same time. They grow at the same time from the mesoderm. So when the Quran says that bones grow with flesh, it's wrong for two reasons. Firstly, there is no ossification at this point. It's cartilage. It's not bone. Ossification comes later. And it isn't that the bones grow independently from the flesh. They grow together. Why are you interrupting? They grow together, and this is why the Quran is wrong, because it stages it, and he admitted it, bones then flesh. Your response?
Okay. He said there's no ossification. Ossification is when bone forms, and this is also referred to as osteogenesis, okay? He also said bones then flesh. Now let's be very clear. The word bones in Arabic is idham. Now the word in the ayah was idham. The word idham in the Arabic language includes cartilage, by the way. How do we know that? If you look at the Arabic lexicons, and I can give you the names of them if you like.
I'd like you to pull it up and show us.
Lisan al-Arab from Ibn Manzur.
Yeah, no, can you pull it up? Can we see it?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
So for example, I'll read it exactly as it says in the lexicon, right?
Yeah.
So basically this is what Ibn Manzur says in his lexicon.
Just quote him the Arabic, let's see if you understand.
Well, it says Al-Fayruz Abadi mentions. Al-Fayruz Abadi is another Arabic lexicon, okay? Al-Ghudruf, and this is, he died 817 Hijri.
Yeah.
Al-Ghudruf wal-Ghudruf kullu azmin. Guys, please, I'm quoting it.
Jesse, just let him.
I'm quoting it by the word. So there's no one here going to say, get me a reference. I'm quoting it. He says, Al-Ghudruf kullu azmin rakhsin yu'kalu wa huwa marin al-unfi wa nughaddu al-katfi wa ru'us al-asna'. Yeah, and this is in, I'll tell you exactly where it is. It is in Fayruz Abadi's Qamus al-Muhit, volume 1, page 840. Any issues?
So yes, I have an issue.
Okay, let me finish.
Yeah, I'll let you finish, but I have an issue, yes.
Now that we have established, have we not, with references, have we not, that al-ghudruf, which is cartilage, is bone and cartilage can be used synonymously. He said that ossification doesn't happen. That's absolutely absurd.
No, I didn't say that.
No, he did say it at this point. He did say that.
I didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that. I didn't say that. I heard him.
Now he's making scientific mistakes. He said there's no reference as well.
Okay, let him make his point. Let him make his point.
Calm down, because he's saying that there's no reference. I've got a book called The Fundamentals of Human Embryology. Be quiet, please. The Fundamentals of Human Embryology.
Printed where, please?
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you. Page 148, this is a book that is used by biologists in their first or second year. And this is also a book that is used by medical students and others. It's a book called The Fundamentals of Human Embryology.
Okay, we'll look at it where
it might be Oxford University Press. I'm not going to give you like a full bibliography.
Okay, it's okay.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, fair enough. Carry on. I'll give you that one.
All right, look, page 148. Listen to what it said. Soon after the cartilaginous models of the bones have been established, the myogenic cells, which have now become myoblasts, aggregate to form muscle masses on the ventral and dorsal aspects of the limbs. These muscle masses in the relevant compartments form the flexors and extensors of the joints. Rotator muscles are also formed so that flexors and pronators are related, and extenders are and supinators are related. Now this is very, very clear to me, and it's actually a reference.
Can I reply to this?
Let me know.
Wait, okay.
No,
yeah.
when somebody is a layman when it comes to science, and is a layman when it comes to philosophy, and is a layman when it comes to Islamic theology, and is a layman when it comes to the Arabic language, has the audacity to come and stand for, excuse me.
It's all right, let him. I've got him. It's all right.
Has the audacity to come in front of...
It's all right, I've got him.
No, let me finish. Has the audacity to come in front of me, making two false claims, the first of which is that the Quran has said...
Hijab, come on.
Let me finish. Let me finish. He said it on the camera. He said it on the camera, and this is at the age of technology. He said ossification doesn't happen at this stage. That's false. That is false. Osteogenesis.
He didn't say that.
It's all right.
We can rewind it.
Okay.
We can rewind it.
Hijab, let me reply.
Ossification does take place by the admission of the authorities, and that's what people are using in universities all across this country. Number two.
No.
Number two. Excuse
Hijab.
me. Let me finish. I gave you a reference. Number two.
Why weren't you saying that to Mansour?
Number two.
Come on, you're going on too long, Hijab. This is why we need to do it time. This is why we need to do it time.
No. Let me finish this point.
And then we'll do it time.
No, then you can do
Okay.
But I'm just making one more point.
Okay,
and then
go
you
on.
can say
Yeah,
what you
sure,
like.
sure.
Number two. فَكَسَوْنَ الْعِظَامَ لَحْمًا is the only interpretation in the Quran that the fa is chronological or ta'qib, meaning is it chronological? No. There are two interpretations in the Islamic understanding. One of them is that it is chronological, and the other one is that it's not chronological. And Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he takes the view that all of it happens in the first 40 days. And he mentions that in his Sharh of the Hadith of إِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ لِيَكُونَ فِي بَطْنِ أُمِّهِ 40 يَوْمًا مُضْغَةً علقة نطفة ثم يكون علقة بعد ذلك ثم يكون مضغة بعد ذلك. And then he says, because excuse me, hold on. Hold on. This hadith says, and
wait, Hijab, come on, bro. You're just going on and on and on.
Let me finish.
We're waiting, but you're not finishing though. You're just making a new point and a new point.
Let me finish.
Go on.
I need to hear all the data.
No, you're just going on and on and on. You're not finishing though. You're not finishing though. You're not finishing though. Carry on.
Because you know it's going to
There's another way of the hadith.
Oh gosh, come on. Another one.
Listen, finished. Calm down, please. Then talk as much. He said, there's another hadith, very important. ثم في ذلك مثل ذلك. This is very important. So he said that in the hadith of Muslim, and the hadith of Sahih Muslim, it's في ذلك مثل ذلك, which means in that time. Listen, it means in that time it will be like that. So because it said في ذلك مثل ذلك, the opinion of the Hanabila in the matter, the Hanbalis, is that it all happens in 40 days. Why is it there for that there's a difference of opinion among the fuqaha?
Wait, you're just making another point, Hijab.
Charles Dickens.
You're just making another point. Look, let me reply. But you're not finishing, Hijab. You're not finishing, Hijab. You're just not finishing. You're not finishing. But you're not finishing. No, you're not, though. You're just going to make another point.
That's why the fuqaha have differed, the jurists have differed, as to when a woman can have an abortion. Some say 120 days, some say 40 days. The ones who say it will happen in 40 days, based on the hadith and the interpretation of the hadith of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali and other Hanbali.
Can I reply now? You're making another point. Hijab, let me reply. You're just making another point.
In summary, number one, the interpretation of chronology is not consensus. Number two, even if you say it is, it includes the cartilaginous models, and that is what, according to this book, which is an authority that all of the doctors are using, is actually happening. Ossification and mesogenesis are happening at the same time, and that means to say that the cartilaginous models are moving in the way that the Quran says. You have nowhere to go.
Okay, so now let me reply. Okay, we're just going to change the battery.
And then we're going to move on to the Bible, where he's going to have nowhere to run.
Okay, so guys, I listened carefully to the book that he quoted. And this is why I didn't want him to go on making point after point after point after point, so that we could address all the points. This is how you construct a fake miracle. You blind people with words. It's a rhetorical device called sophism. It's just sophistry. You bring out lots and lots of things. People can't grasp all the points that you're making, and then because they can't process all the information, they just accept the summary. And this is a tactic that Hijab has just demonstrated perfectly.
Masterfully.
Notice the interruption. Notice the interruption. So, ladies and gentlemen, I listened to the quote from the book that he quoted. And what I heard was that bones and flesh grow together. But if you remembered when I asked Hijab to name the stages, he said, and you'll see the flashback on our picture on Soko Films, he said that bones came before flesh.
He did.
That's what he said.
Yes.
So he said the bones came before flesh, and then he quoted a book that said exactly the opposite. And he thought that I wouldn't notice. And he thought that I wouldn't notice.
Good tactic.
But I did notice because I have examined this sophistry before, and I understand its rudimentary tactic. The idea is to blind you with lots of big sounding words. Let me just clarify. Let me just clarify.
Clarify, Bob.
In another part of the Quran, so we read 23, 12 to 14.
We did.
But in Surah 2, Ayah 259, it also says exactly the same. It's towards the end of the verse, if you're going to recite it.
There's two qira'ahs now.
Yeah. Right, okay, let me give the English.
But you won't get what...
Let me give the English, bro. Yeah.
So that's why you need...
I am still making my point, Hijab.
It's fine, bro.
Hijab, I'm still making my point.
Take your time, please.
Yeah. Okay. So, in Surah 2, 259, it reads...
Yeah, please.
Does help if I get to it.
Do you want me to help you out with that?
No, I can find it, thank you. It's just a case of... It's just a case...
Embryology, you know that?
He said, now notice, he said it's not about embryology.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's actually look at whether it talks about embryology. It says this,
What does it say, Bob?
and thus we have made of you a sign for the people. Look at the bones, how we bring them together and clothe them with flesh. When this was clearly shown to him, he said, I know that Allah is able to do all things. No, don't interrupt. You insisted that I didn't interrupt. I'm going to say everything I've got to say, you got to listen.
Listen.
So the fact of the matter is, in two places, the Quran says bones, then flesh. Hijab said bones, then flesh, and then quoted a book that said flesh and bones grow together. That's what he did, and he hoped you wouldn't notice. Now, he also talked about ossification. He also talked about ossification. The reality is, unless Hijab wants to say that he is an embryologist, it is clear from every work of embryology that bones are not immediately ossified. They begin as cartilage. The Quran does not mention cartilage. He said, have you got a problem with that, when he quoted the lexicon? And I said, yes, I do. But he insisted that he finish all of his many points. Are you honestly telling me that Allah doesn't have a word for cartilage when he wants to talk about cartilage, and he doesn't have a word for bones when he wants to talk about bones? No, you're going to listen. He's losing his patience now. He won't... Oh, and look at the interruption. It's all right. So,
Tell me when you're finished.
yeah, I'm going to. But I'm going to finish all my points. Like you mentioned a lot. I've tried... No, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Stop interrupting. Just stop interrupting. Right. So, the reality is, and I just challenge you to check me now. Do bones... What is a bone? A bone is an ossified cartilage. There is a reason why we have distinct words for cartilage and bones. And what you're saying is, Allah is inaccurate in his description because he can't use a word for cartilage. He uses one that could mean cartilage and could mean bones, or could mean the two things together. If he means the two things together, then it's an error, because cartilage is not bone. If it could be cartilage or could be bone, then it's an error, because it should be cartilage, not bone. So either way, the Quran is wrong. Now, he said, Hijab, Are you impressed at my memory of how I've remembered all your arguments? He said,
What did he say?
how dare you, a layman in philosophy, a layman in Arabic, a layman in embryology, have the audacity to stand in front of me? Do you all remember him saying that? Do you see, he's not the only one with a good memory. Let's just correct a fact. He came and stood in front of me, not the other way around. But secondly, he is a layman in embryology. He is a layman on this topic, but I'll tell you someone who isn't a layman in embryology. Here's someone who isn't a layman in embryology. So, someone who isn't a layman in embryology is Dr. P. Said Myers, a human biologist from the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
He describes the Quran's understanding of embryology as follows:
Read it.
vague and fuzzy and basically stealing from Aristotle. That's what a real embryologist says about the Quran.
Stealing.
What does he know about the Quran?
Now, why? This is the interesting point.
Yeah.
Why does he say the Quran is stealing from Aristotle?
Why?
Now, personally, I think he's wrong. I think there were Arab doctors at the time who were educated in medicine. But if you listen to Aristotle's words, listen to this.
Read it, Bob.
This is quoting from quoting Aristotle's work on the parts of animals.
Okay.
Aristotle lived 350 years before Christ, which makes him 1,000 years before Muhammad.
I thought it was 337.
And listen, no, 350. And this is what he says. Stop interrupting. This is embryology according to Aristotle.
Bob.
Listen.
He's saying.
Around about the bones and attached to them by the fibrous bonds grow fleshy parts, for the sake of which the bones exist. Does that sound familiar? Bones, then flesh. That was a common understanding at the time of Muhammad. There is nothing miraculous about what the Quran says, and the Quran gets it wrong.
Thank you very much. Now it's my turn to respond, but I do think we should time it, by the way.
Oh, now you want it timed?
No, I do think so.
I agree, let's time it.
What do you want? 5 minutes each?
5 minutes each. Can we get a timer, please?
5 minutes each or
And you've got to be willing to show your phone to both of us on request.
5 minutes is done.
Are you willing to show your phone to both of us on request? Okay.
Now, before I actually...
Let him get it the time. Yeah, he's going to tap you. Yeah.
So you said 5 minutes.
5 minutes each.
We got this.
Okay, go. Yep.
Hijab.
Let's read it again, because I don't think this man has good comprehension skills. He said that, no, he doesn't have good comprehension. This is the problem. We're dealing with someone who can't understand. He said that it said that both of them are forming at the same time. No, it doesn't say that. It says soon after the cartilaginous models of the bone have been established. So first what we have, cartilaginous models of the bones have been established, yeah? Then it says what? The myogenic cells, which have now become myoblasts, yes, aggregate to form muscle masses. Now let me explain what it's saying here. It's saying that you have cartilage, or these cartilaginous models, and then you have the myoblasts, which are myogenic cells, which then become myoblasts that are coming on top. Is that what it said, yeah? Everybody knows who has done even a little bit of reading in embryology that myoblasts are the cells that are responsible for muscle growth. Yes. That is a fact of embryology. Go to any book of embryology that you like. It is responsible for flesh. So he's saying that it's saying it at the same time. No, it's not. It's saying first the cartilaginous models have been established, and then after that you have the myogenic cells which are responsible for flesh that are coating them. Exactly as the Quran states, if you want to take the chronological reading. As I've said though, that's not the only interpretation of the Quran, because there's fa at-taqibiyya, the fa which comes as like thumma, which is for chronology, and fa as fa as-sababiyya, or a fa that's not necessarily like that, for kasawn al-idama lahma, that we have closed the bone with muscle. So that's point number one, completely and utterly refuted. He said it said, and this is false. It's demonstrably false. He said it said at the same time. Where is in what I read saying the same time? Can you read and understand? Do you understand that myogenic cells are responsible for flesh? Do you understand that ossification is responsible for bones? But he said ossification continues. Do you know when it continues until? It continues until adulthood, by the way.
Correct.
Yeah, so what's that got to do with our discussion? He said that no, he could have used the word ghudruf or the word specifically for cartilage. That's not necessarily a good description. You know why? Because had there been any bone that started, then that would eliminate. So all the word azam includes cartilage and bone, whereas the word ghudruf is cartilage only and not bone, so it would exclude the bone, which would be less specific. Point number 3, he mentioned Aristotle. Aristotle said in his treatises that a woman, she has menstruation blood contributes to the embryological process. I want you to find me one verse of the Quran or one hadith of the Prophet where that is in fact copied. If you copy from Aristotle, why is he not copying that? Aristotle also said that the baby is formed in its entirety and then it just gets bigger and bigger. That's completely against the Quran and the Sunnah. How comes Aristotle did not mention nutfatin amshaj, whereby both of the mixed fluids are there? Where the Prophet Muhammad he mentioned the hadith. Listen to this. The Prophet Muhammad mentions لَيْسَ الْوَلَدُ مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّهِ, that the boy or the child is not from the entire fluid. Meaning now, what is the Quranic picture? Chapter number 76, verse number 2. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا, that we have made the human being from a combined mixture of fluids and to test him, and we have made him hearing and seeing. So wait a minute, it's saying it's mixed. And wait a minute, the Prophet said it's a part of that mixed fluid. Not all of it, which is, we know, it's one cell of the man and one cell of the woman. There's nothing like that in the Bible at all, my friend. You have no chance. There's nothing like that in Aristotle's work at all, my friend. There is nothing like that in Galen's work at all, my friend. And there's nothing like that in the Talmud at all, my friend. How did he know this? Where did he get this from? Did he get it from the Bible, where it says that human being is made like curdled cheese? Where it says in Job chapter 9, verse number 6, that the earth is flat and has pillars, and no one in the patristic period for 300 years, not one, I claim now, has ever said that the earth is round based on the biblical narrative. Everyone was a flat earthist. John of Chrysostom, when he done his exegesis of the Bible,
No, time is
and
time.
others, and if you look at Origin of Alexandria, he was a spiritualist and others.
5 seconds.
All of this shows that the Bible has no way of connecting with today's
Time.
The Quran does.
We can all do a shouting match.
Give him 5 minutes.
Right, okay. Ready? Go. So, ladies and gentlemen, there was a lot there. Again, the hijab went on to say, firstly, we need to establish something, that even in ancient times, the Greeks knew that the world was round. This is not something new. It is an Enlightenment myth that people in the past thought that the world was flat. And I won't take a lecture from Mohammed Hijab about the shape of the earth when the Quran says that the earth is stretched out like a carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, have you ever seen a round carpet? Or are carpets flat when they are stretched out?
Flat.
So Muhammad has just chucked his Quran under the bus. No, he went on to talk about the fact that the Quran mentions that the child is created from the fluid of the woman and the fluid of the man. This is an error. It is not a fluid, it is an egg. It is a cell. It isn't a fluid. So he has just exposed the Quran for another error. Because as the Quran says, and we'll quote it, and we made the nufta, thank you, into a clot. Sorry, here we go. Thereafter we made him, the offspring, as a nutfa, drops of male and female sexual discharge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I have to tell you that an egg is not a fluid, it is an egg, a cell, then you don't know what a fluid is, and it would appear neither does your God. But firstly, it says a drop of male fluid. A drop of male fluid, ladies and gentlemen, contains thousands of sperms. So the Quran is also wrong there, because a drop of what we would consider a drop of sperm has thousands of the cells of sperms within it, if not tens of thousands. But it's only one sperm that creates the human embryo. Furthermore, this idea of females contributing to the genesis of another human being is not unique to the Quran. There were other Greek philosophers who taught embryology who believed exactly the same. Now he said, what about the idea of the woman's blood contributing to the birth of a human embryo? He objected to the idea of the menstruation blood, and obviously he's right to do so. But the Quran says this, then we made the nutfah into a clot of coagulated blood. A clot of coagulated blood is not what an embryo is ever. A clot of coagulated blood is dead blood. It is stopping based upon a cut. It is stopping rupture. It is stopping bleeding. So the Quran is wrong there. So now we've got, in addition to the embryology error, we also have the error that the Quran says the world is flat, like a carpet, stretched out. Thank you. And that is also an error. Remember, he condemned the church fathers for being flat earthers, but the Quran is a flat earther. It describes the world as being stretched out like a carpet. Now, he goes on to talk about the fact that the ossification, he quoted his book again, and he's trying to mislead you, because that full quote, do you honestly believe that bones grow without any skin or flesh? Where's the photo evidence? There's no such thing. Flesh and bone grow together. Notice the interruption. It grows at the same time. That is the conclusion of embryologists. And we've got two facts now that the Quran gets wrong: a flat earth and embryology.
This is how it often goes. Just sound confident, like you've schooled the guy. If he seems like he's destroyed the argument, that's all that matters. A vast majority of people don't even bother to check or verify what's being said. As long as the dawah guy is thumping his chest, acting like he's given a knockout response, that's it for many Muslim viewers. It's really quite astonishing when you think about it. But hey, that's just how it is. And another example would be Lily J. Like, her channel has just blown up, which shows how easily you can fool the Muslim audience. And lastly, when it comes to Speaker's Corner, Christians have completely dismantled the dawah team and their script. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. God bless.